are some things which every wrestler dreams of. For most wrestlers, the dream is to get into WWE and wrestle for the biggest promotion in the world. WWE has become the wrestling promotion with the largest global promotion, an accolade they are trying to actually increase regularly. Triple H and Stephanie are both looking to increase WWE's presence to a level where they have gripped the markets of the UK, India, and even Japan. Given their presence, most wrestlers love the idea of joining the company as it's a sign of having made it in the wrestling world. There are, however, those wrestlers who did not quite enjoy signing with WWE as much as they thought they would, be it the booking they received, the sort of matches they took part in, or even their position in the company. These wrestlers regretted signing with WWE. Hideo Itami is one of the more prominent names in WWE, and he has had one of the unluckiest runs when it comes to NXT. He suffered injury after injury during his time in the company, and every time it looked like he was about to be pushed, it was back to the drawing board with another setback. This ultimately stunted his run in the company to a great extent, and he has not really had a successful run despite being one of the best wrestlers currently on WWE's payroll. Known as Kenta in his run outside the company, he enjoyed much more success before he joined the WWE. Recently, he has made the move up to 205 Live, where he has experienced a bit more success, although he's yet to challenge for any title there. It would not be a surprise given the booking he has received that he does not re-sign with the company and leaves them at some point soon in the future. Cody Rhodes had a long run with the WWE given the history his father had with the company. Being attached to Randy Orton in the same stable, he and Ted DiBiase together formed Priceless, while the three of them together were known as Legacy. Rhodes looked as though he could easily be the future of the company given the run that he was on with them, and then he went on to have an impressive solo run as well, winning the Intercontinental title. He was extremely talented as a wrestler, and it showed in the way that he dealt with in-ring performances. His run slowed down, however, as he was handed the gimmick of Stardust, which was similar to the sort of gimmick that his brother Goldust had. He hated the gimmick and wanted nothing to do with it. Despite actively trying to abandon his run as Stardust, the creative team thought differently and did not allow that to happen at any point. Cody grew frustrated with the run he had with the company and decided that he would be better off somewhere. In a move that no one had been expecting, he left the company to try his luck on the independent scene. There, he tried to add a lot more variety to his character and soon achieved what few stars had achieved before him and actually managed to become a member of the Bullet Club. Ever since then, there has been no looking back for him, and he, with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega at his side, have been one of the most successful wrestlers and stables outside the WWE with huge merchandise sales and tremendous popularity. Sami Zayn is one of those wrestlers who's had an immensely successful career on the independent scene and even brought some of that success with him when he first came to WWE. Although he did suffer a serious injury which kept him out of action in NXT, he did manage to come back from that quite successfully. While his run with the company at this point was not the best, he made up for it with several amazing matches, including one against Shinsuke Nakamura. When he made the jump to the main roster, however, it was not quite the same for Zayn, as he had a lot of obstacles to overcome, including the perception of Vince McMahon that he was a small wrestler, he could not be a main event performer. So despite being one of the best workers on the roster, he has been kept away from any sort of main event spot and is yet to even win a title. On top of that, his dedication to wrestling has never been more clear, having wrestled with 2 torn rotator cuffs for the longest period of time. Given all that he has given to WWE, he has gotten very little back, and by now he may regret ever signing with the company. Adam Rose was one of the more interesting characters during his time down in NXT. Although initially known as Leo Kruger, his character was changed up for him to become Adam Rose instead. As Adam Rose, his personality changed and he became a more fun-loving character who organized parties and had fun with his friends. The fans showed their appreciation for the character down in NXT, and he was over with all the people there. On the main roster, however, he was far from well received by the casual fans. Most of them did not like him or his gimmick, although there was a bit of a reaction initially. He lost too much for him to be a believable top-rated star on the roster, and he floundered in the mid-card looking for his place. Unfortunately, even the Bunny, which later turned out just to be Justin Gabriel, was more over than him in the gimmick. Combine that with his health policy violations and he was released from the company without having achieved anything near his full potential. He regretted signing with them in the first place. Gallows and Anderson may just be proof that WWE has no clue how to handle hot property. One of the best tag teams on the indie scene, when they were signed, Gallows and Anderson looked like they were about to get the run of their lives when they came to WWE along with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura from New Japan Pro Wrestling. The duo looked like they were headed towards the right direction when they teamed up with AJ Styles as the club. Unfortunately, the run was over faster than anyone had thought it would be. They would soon be split up from AJ and be on separate brands. The two took their own time to get used to the brand, and by the time their run came around with the tag team titles, it was too late. Even though they could have been salvaged, but unfortunately for them, their run lasted for too little a time period to make any sort of difference in the fans' perception regarding them. Given the run that they've had on the main roster, Anderson and Gallows will be more than just regretting signing with the company by now. They have faded into the background with very few actual matches on television. Kassius Ohno, also known as Chris Hero, has not had a good couple of runs with WWE. He is one of the biggest forces outside the company and has a huge resume of being one of the top independent wrestlers. In NXT, however, he is treated only as a gatekeeper for other stars on their way to the big time. Being immensely underrated, he has not had any sort of success since signing with WWE, which is one of the biggest shames to think about given the talent that he has at his disposal. At this point, he definitely regrets signing a contract with the company. At least at this point, he has the chance of possibly signing with the company as a trainer. Bobby Roode was a popular part of Impact Wrestling in the independent scene. When he was signed to WWE, it appeared that the fans could not be happier with the new development. He was given an amazing entrance and actually seemed like he was going to have a good run with the company. He started off in NXT, and while his character was not the best character in WWE, he still looked very successful. His heel run was great and slowly but surely became a beloved star and NXT champion. Unfortunately for him, it was not meant to last. He got sent up to the main roster, but the actual death knell was when his character was turned into a face from the usual characteristic heel that he had portrayed before. When he turned face, any ounce of believability that had been attached to his character of a heel vanished, and he was just another wrestler. His lack of personality of any sort did not go over well with the fans, and before they knew it, he had been relegated to meaningless feuds on the mid-card. At this point, it may be safe to say that Bobby Roode is not all that pleased with his push in the company and regrets signing with them in the first place. One of the easiest to put on this list, Neville's displeasure with WWE has not been very subtle. In fact, nothing about his relations with the company has been subtle. Neville had all the potential in the world when he came to the company, and although his initial run looked promising as the man that gravity forgot, it was far from it, and he racked up several losses and few victories of importance. He was not given a title, and then an injury forced him away from the ring for a long time. When he returned, he came back as a heel in the Cruiserweight division, and he looked better than he ever had before and put on fantastic matches. He even became the Cruiserweight champion and looked indomitable. He finally lost the title to Enzo Amore and slowly faded away. He is currently not part of WWE's regular programming, although he is tied down by a contract to them. Differences of opinion with higher-ups in the WWE might be what has kept him away from the ring for so long. Aries had made his presence known on NXT and was one of the best wrestlers on the roster. An injury during a match with Shinsuke Nakamura, however, would see him sidelined, but he was able to come back, and this time in the Cruiserweight division. If there is one run with the company that Aries regrets, it's his run with the company competing for the Cruiserweight title. He was an amazing wrestler, putting on great matches, but WWE still kept him on the pre-show, and worse, didn't even give him a run with the title. CM Punk was one of the top-rated wrestlers in the business, and there is a good reason for that. He was immensely athletic, and with that sort of believability factor in his look, making him a possible main eventer. A successful run on the outside has also gained him a huge following, but none of that mattered once he came to WWE. While it was obvious that as a wrestler he was destined to go far, he did not go that far that fast in WWE. They were really reluctant to pull the trigger on him despite being one of the most obvious choices for at least a top-level run. He won the Money in the Bank contract and cashed it in to become a World Heavyweight Champion, but his real push would come later. Much later, his pipe-bomb promo saw him elevated to another level on the WWE roster, and he became the most popular wrestler in the world and the biggest phenomenon in the wrestling scene since the Montreal Screwjob. He held the championship for a record 434 days, but his run was marred by the fact that almost none of his title defenses saw him main eventing the show. He soon was released from the company when he could not appear for shows. His termination papers arrived on his wedding day, and Punk has since had an embittered feud with WWE, who sued him for defamation in the courts, which recently won. It is safe to say that he regrets ever signing a contract with the company. And these are 10 wrestlers who regret signing with the WWE. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later with more wrestling videos.